Good morning, Lorraine.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Nota.
Yeah, this is Delegate Nota. I'm going to be off for just a bit. I'll be online, but I've got a constituent that I'm talking to and dealing with right now.
Okay.
So I'll be back on in about 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Shamat, this is Delegate Herman Daniels Jr. I am on the line now. Morning.
Good morning, Judge, Mr. Daniels. This is Lorraine.
Oh, yeah, echo that. Yeah.
Okay.
I made you host me.
Okay. All right then.
Good morning, Lorraine. This is Delegate Charles Newton. I'm sorry, I'm 4 minutes late. I apologize. My computer decided to reboot right before 10 this morning, so I apologize. I'm on the line. Good morning. I do see that we have Delegate Nathan Nota, Delegate Herman Daniels on the line. I myself am on the line. Are there any other Law and Order Committee delegates on the line? Okay, not hearing anything. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order at 10:04. We do have a quorum present. Let's go ahead and begin with roll call.
Good morning, LOC members and everyone listening in on the call. Roll call for Law and Order Committee, 25th Navajo Nation Council, May 22nd, 2023. Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton.
Delegate Charles Newton is present.
Thank you. Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton is present. Honorable Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie. Honorable Stephen Arvizo. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr.
Present.
Thank you. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. is present. Honorable Nathan Nota. Honorable Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie. Honorable Stephen Arvizo. Honorable Nathan Nota.
Sherelle, I'm online. I'll be back here in just about 10 minutes or so.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Nathan Nota is present. With that, Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 3 members present, which constitutes a quorum. Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. So with that, we'll go ahead and we will proceed with the next item on the agenda, which is invocation. We do have invocation on the agenda. So I can go ahead and lead with invocation this morning if there's not any objections. Okay, not hearing anything? We pray to you here at this time, that you look down upon us, that you forgive us here for our sins, forgive us here for our frustrations, forgive us here for for being impatient. Forgive us here at this time for praying to you and just getting a little frustrated sometimes because our prayers we feel are not being answered. We pray to you here at this time that you forgive us for all of this so that we can pray to you with a pure heart, with a pure soul, pure mind. We thank you, Shikati, for coming into our life, for coming into our homes, for watching over us, for keeping us safe, for allowing us to be able to travel and do work on behalf of the Navajo Nation, on behalf of the Navajo people, to be able to come home safe and sound each and every night to our loved ones, to our family. We thank you, God, at this time for allowing us to give us one more day to be able to breathe in this air, to be able to do the work, to be able to continue to move forward on behalf of our people, to make our lives better. We pray to you here at this time for your guidance. We pray to you here at this time that you walk beside us, that you help us each and every day to make the right decisions. I pray to you here at this time, that you help us in any way that you can with all of our prayers that we say to you throughout the day, the things that we worry about, the things that we need, the things that we want in our lives. We pray to you and we ask you to take care of all of that. We put it in your hands because we know that only you're strong enough to take care of it. We pray to you, God, this morning, this way, for all of our Navajo people, all of those people out there who are feeling joy, who are feeling sadness, all of the people out there who are working hard, not only for themselves, but for their family, who are trying to make a difference in their lives. We pray to you here at this time for those who need prayers at this time, those who are sick, those who are trying to feel better, those who are trying to get themselves out of the situation that they might be in. We pray to you here at this time that you take care of all of that. You hear our prayers throughout the day, throughout the evenings, that you hear our prayers this way. We pray to you, we put it in your hands at this time. We ask you to take care of it this way in your name. Amen. Thank you, everyone who is on the line. We do have other delegates who are currently listening in. So at this time, I'd like to move to item number 2 on the agenda, recognizing guests and visiting officials. I'd like to begin by asking, do we have any delegates on the line who wish to announce themselves for the record?
Yes, Ishada, this is Delegate Amber Kinis-Bacardi. I'm on the call to listen to the legislations. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you for announcing yourself for the record. Do we have any other delegates on the line who wish to announce themselves for the record?
Good morning.
Yeah, hey,
This
good
is
morning,
Cheryl
LOC.
Iñaki.
This is
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dr. Andy Ness.
Good morning, everyone. LOC, Madam Charles Newton. This is Delegate Nez, Andy Nez. I'm on the call. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nez, for being on the call. Vice Chair, we did hear you. Are you just announcing yourself for the record?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Vice Chair. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. And I'd like to ask, do we have anybody from Office of Legislative Counsel on the line?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Law and Order Committee. My name is Loya Kanachne Henderson. I am with Office of Legislative Counsel. I am on the line today, along with Laureline Tapahe from Office of Legislative Counsel. I'll let her introduce herself. Thanks.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. This is Laureline. I'll be assisting Ms. Henderson today.
Thank you, Loya and Laureline, for announcing yourselves on the record at this time. Do we have anybody on office or anybody here from Office of Legislative Services?
Ya Bena ya Lorraine Spencer and Chef. Tana Jennings for the Oshabashi chain, Hanagi Dashinado, Kiani Dasuche, and I'm the legislative advisor for the Law and Order Committee. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Che Shral Notayan Chia. Katnazan Nishla Touching Bashichin. Sana Jenny Dashichado, Disclaimer Dashanella. I'm the legislative assistant for Law and Order Committee. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Lorraine, and thank you, Sherelle, for introducing yourself. We're going to move forward. Do we have anybody from the Speaker's office on the line?
Good morning, Chair. I'm calling in from the Speaker's office. This is Stacy Allison. Thank you.
Good morning, Miss Allison. Thank you for being on the line. Do we have anybody from the judicial branch on the line?
Good morning, Madam Chair Charles Newton and honorable members of the Law and Order Committee. This is Karen Francis, Acting Administrative Director.
Thank you, Ms. Francis, for being on the line and for announcing yourself. Do we have anybody from Office of President and Vice President on the line?
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Mark, Government Legislative Affairs Associate with the NAV Washington office.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln, for introducing yourself on the record at this time. Do we have any other executive directors or anybody from the executive branch who wishes to announce themselves at this time?
Good morning, Madam Chair. This is Robert Willie with the Office of the Controller.
Good morning, Mr. Willie. Thank you for being on the call. Do we have anybody from any of the chapters who are on the call who wish to announce themselves for the record at this time? Okay, not hearing anything, I'll go ahead and ask the Law and Order Committee members to introduce themselves for the record at this time, since we do have some people who are new. So we'll go ahead and begin
Good
with
morning.
Stephen Arvizo.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, this is Vicki Shirley. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Miss Shirley.
I tried to unmute myself earlier, but I am the staff assistant to the Office of the President and Vice President, and I'm online too. Thank you.
Thank you for announcing yourself at this time, Miss Shirley. So with that, we'll go ahead and go back to the introduction of Law and Order Committee members. Delegate Stephen Arvizo, are you on the line?
Madam Chair, good morning. Yat Etanosco, Daisanos Agi, Shay Stephen Arvizo Yinsia. Since the card in Slobit and a Bashish chain, touching does it say, Twitchini Edashanale, it nens little like Idaho. Aro chapter Banash, Igi a Yambato, Aro in the Kiletsosanel, Sobehuis can bake a hot sale. So that's Basa Anja Aronda, Gloyaji. Good morning to everybody. Madam Chair.
Thank you for the introduction, Delegate Arvizo. We appreciate that. We'll go ahead and move to the next member of the Law and Order Committee, Shiaj Delegate Herman Daniels. You could introduce yourself.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Adonana Yakudo. Ado Herman Daniels Jr. ACG Adona and Slingy with Annie Adonana. There's a son Etashe. Go ahead, lean Etashe. Ado has got so Etasanale. Adi Benimi can he be me dole. Adonana Quado Shamakodo for the Zulkudo. The Hain Zig I see here Quado by hands, no by head and eats and Quado. Asian Quado Dijim and Nash in it, $8, but any $8 Quado. Ado Quado Banash, the Shiggy Ya, not on, or Jet Ho, Shant Ho, Arin Tafikin, A Quado Banash. Adonana Law and Order Committee, ARJ Tashanan, Instant, representing Western Agency. So that is $8. Madam Chair, thank you.
So we'll go ahead and move forward to the next committee member, Honorable Nathan Nota.
Yate Bena, this is Nathan Nota, Shikedo Shadana Yate. Ogan Shlon Kia Ani Bashin Tudachini Dashichedo, Ashini Dashanala. Banash Agi E Yaha Nash do Tohache, Ado Nakai Beto Basla. Ado my take, those are the 5 chapters I represent in District 14. So Arnold thank you for participating in this Law and Order Committee meeting today. Thank you, Speaker. I'm sorry. Thank you, Chair, Madam Chair.
Thank you for the introduction, Delegate Nathan Nota. So that's fine. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie. The floor is yours for introduction.
Ayat Bena, she Sherilyn Yazzie, she adore one of Nishle. I don't total neighbor Shin, Twitch eat ne dashe do she dashanella. And thank you everybody for participating in our LOC committee. Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction, Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie. My name is Delegate Eugenia Charles Newton. I represent the Shiprock community. My clans are Bitsafne. I'm born for Asheha. So we'll go ahead and we'll begin this Law and Order Committee of the 25th Navajo Nation Council. This is a regular meeting that's taking place via teleconference and in person. Today is May 22nd, 2023. And it is 10 o'clock a.m. Lorraine, can you go ahead and read the agenda into the record at this time?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Law and Order Committee and those that are on the call. Agenda of the Law and Order Committee, 25th Navajo Nation Council, regular meeting through telecommunication or in person, May 22nd, 2023, 10 a.m. Presiding, Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton, Chairperson. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, Vice Chairperson. Location, Law and Order Committee, Conference Room, Window Rock, Arizona. 1, call meeting to order, roll call and invocation. Number 2, recognize guests and visiting officials. Number 3, review and adopt agenda. Number 4, review and adopt the journals. There are 2 journals, May 8th, 2023 and May 15th, 2023. 5, receive reports, none. 6, old business, none. 7, new business. 8, legislation number 0099-23. B, legislation number 0108-23. C, legislation number 0104-23. D, legislation number 0078-23. E, legislation number 0084-23. F, discussion purpose and set the date for meeting between LOC and Kayenta Township at Kayenta Fire Department. Date is blank, time is blank. G, discussion purpose and set date, meeting between LOC and DBHS Alcohol Treatment Center, Strip Rock, New Mexico. Date is blank, time is blank. 8, close of meeting announcement and adjournment. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you for that, Lorraine. So the agenda has been read into the record. Can I get a motion and a second to adopt the agenda?
All motion, Madam Chair, Arvizo.
Motion made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo. Can I get a second?
Delegate Nota.
Delegate Nathan Nota seconds. Committee members, the agenda has been read into the record. Are there any amendments, any questions, or any comments to the agenda at this time?
Madam Chair, this is Delegate Daniel.
Delegate Herman Daniels, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Kudo agenda kudo deal soski kudo adopt na heki kudo ke o vengi kudo here kudo I know that we're going to have multiple meetings moving forward. Several meetings this week here at the local level. As committees meeting, leadership meetings that the council leadership meeting they're scheduled this week. So I know that May is a busy month. I just want to congratulate all the promoted grandparents. I've been mentioning this Monument Valley Fire Station. Like to request for maybe I don't know if we can put this on the agenda today. Monument Valley Fire Station. Sit down with have a meeting with the fire station, the crew out there, and because Monument Valley is run by San Juan County, and there's concerns, issues. Madam Chair, if I can put this on the agenda, I don't doubt this morning without that. Madam Chair, thank you. Thank you.
Delegate Daniels, committee members, there is a motion for amendment number 1 to add item H under 7 on the agenda, which is new business. H would be discussion purpose and set date meeting in Monument Valley to discuss the fire department or the fire station. Motion has been made by Delegate Herman Daniels. Can I get a second?
Delegate Nota, I'll second that.
Thank you, Delegate Nota. So with that, motion has been made. Second by Delegate Nathan Nota. Committee members, are there any other amendments or any other questions or comments to Amendment 1? Not hearing anything, we'll go ahead and do a second reading of the agenda and we'll go straight. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, this is amendment number 1. Again, Lorraine, it's discussion purpose and set date meeting with Monument Valley to discuss their fire department. Motion was made by Delegate Herman Daniels, second by Nathan Nota. Since there are no questions or comments, we'll go ahead and move to a vote, roll call vote at this time. Shua, can you assist us, please?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote? Honorable Herman Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Chair not voting, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. With 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 not voting, amendment number 1 does pass. So with that, committee members, again, the agenda was read into the record. There was 1 amendment. Are there any other questions or comments? We're back to the main motion.
This is Sherilyn. I'd like to propose an amendment.
Vice Chair Yazzie, the floor is yours.
I'd like to propose for 0099-23, if their amendment to to kind of address the possible conflict of interest that shareholders are paid for their positions. If there's a way that we could put in there that we don't get paid for being shareholders on with the enterprises. Thank you.
Vice Chair Yazzie, that is not an amendment. When we call the legislation will be presented, and you do at that point have the option to request a report or request that an amendment be made at that time.
Okay, I'll hold off on that then. Thank you.
So with that, committee members, are there any other amendments to the agenda at this time? Okay, not hearing anything, we can go ahead and, Lorraine, can we go ahead and get a second reading?
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the Law and Order Committee members. So you add a new H under 7 new business. H will read as discussion purpose and set date. Meeting between LOC and Monument Valley Fire Station, and this will be in Monument Valley, Utah. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Lorraine. So with that, committee members, a second reading of the agenda with Amendment 1 has been read into the record. We do have a motion made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo, a second by Delegate Nathan Nota. So if there are no other amendments, committee members, we're going to go ahead and call for a roll call vote to accept the agenda with the 1 amendment. Sherelle, can you assist us with roll call vote, please?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Herman Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie votes green. With that, Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton not voting. Chair.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. So with that, committee members, we do have an agenda set before us at this time. Lorraine, can you make sure you make the adjustments needed to the agenda and send out the new agenda as soon as possible? So with that, we'll go ahead and move forward to item number 4, review and adopt the journals. There are 2 journals that need to be reviewed and adopted. Those journals were sent out to us, I believe sometime last week. Sherelle, when were the journals sent out to the committee members?
Good morning, members. The journals were sent out on Friday, May 19, 2023 at 1:50 p.m. Madam Chair, members.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. So with that, committee members, as was stated, the journals were sent out on May 19th, 2020, this past Friday at 1:50 p.m. The journals are dated May 8th, 2023 and May 15th, 2023. Committee members, we can do this one of 2 ways. One is we can accept both journals with 1 motion, 1 second, 1 vote, or we can accept May 8th, 2023 with 1 motion, 1 second, 1 vote, and May 15th, 2023 with 1 motion, 1 second, and 1 vote. How would the committee like to proceed?
Madam Chair, this is Delegate Daniels.
Delegate Daniels, the floor is yours.
Yes, first, I want to thank the staff. With that, I'm going to make a motion to accept May 8th, 2023 and May 15th, 2023 as adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Delegate Daniels makes a motion to accept both journals, May 8th, 2023 and May 15th, 2023. Can I get a second?
Madam
I'll
Chair, I'll
second
make
that.
that.
Second by Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie. So with that, committee members, are there any questions or any comments or any amendments that need to be made to the journals dated May 8th, 2023 and May 15th, 2023? Not hearing anything, let's go ahead and go to roll call vote. Sherelle, can you assist us with roll call vote? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote? Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie votes green. Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote? Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Madam. Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. With that, Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair Charles Newton not voting. Chair.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. So with a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 not voting, the journals dated May 8th, 2023 and May 15th, 2023 are hereby accepted. So with that, committee members, we'll go ahead and move down to item number 5 on the agenda, which is receiving reports. There is none. Item number 6, old business. There is none. Item number 7, new business. We are now at 7A, legislation number 0099-23. This is a legislation that I am sponsoring. Each one of the chairs are sponsoring this legislation, and they are two legislations have gone through the process. So we are presenting this legislation to the Law and Order Committee at this time. Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, you are the Vice Chair of Law and Order Committee. I'd like to turn the gavel over to you at this time. I am a sponsor, so I need to present my legislation.
Okay, thank you, Chair. All right, everybody. I'm gonna need a little bit of help with this. So if I make a mistake, just let me know, okay? Good morning, everybody. This is Sherilyn Yazzie. I'd like to move on to the next item on our agenda. And we have our sponsor here.
Madam Vice Chair, I can read the legislation to the rest.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Proposed Standing Committee Resolution 25th Nomination Council First Year 2023, introduced by Eugenia Charles Newton, tracking number 0099-23. An action relating to Law and Order Committee appointing delegate members from the Law and Order Committee to the Navajo Transitional Energy Company, LLC, as a member representative, that the Next Development Corporation as a shareholder representative, the Navajo Times Publishing Company as a shareholder representative, the Navajo Community Development Financial Institution as a shareholder representative, and to the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Corporation as a shareholder representative. Be enacted, Section 1, authority. A, the Law and Order Committee is established as a standing committee of the Navajo Nation Council. 2, NNC Section 600A, Section 2, findings. A, standing committees are required to select a member to serve as a shareholder representative or member representative for certain Navajo Nation enterprises. B, the operating agreement of the Navajo Transitional Energy Company, LLC, at Article 3C states that the membership interest in the company shall be exercised by 5-member representatives composed of 1 member from each of the 5 standing committees of the nomination council or their successor committees. C, by the laws of the Development Corporation, provide as the sole shareholder, the Navajo Nation shares and the corporation will be exercised by 5 shareholder representatives comprised of 1 member from each of the 5 standing committees of the nomination council or their successor committees. D, by the laws of the Navajo Times Publishing Company, Inc. state as a sole shareholder, the Navajo Nation shares in the corporation shall be exercised by 5 shareholder representatives comprised of 1 member from each of the 5 standing committees of the nomination council or their successor committees. E, by the laws of the Navajo Nation, by the Navajo Community Development Financial Institution, state that the Navajo Nation shares in the corporation shall be exercised by 5 shareholder representatives composed of 1 member of the standing committees of the nomination council or their successor committees. F, the charter of the Navajo Oil and Gas Corporation, Article 5D states all rights of the shareholder of the corporation shall be exercised by the appointed shareholder representative composed of 1 member from each of the standing committees of the nomination council or their successor committees. G, the Law and Order Committee is permitted to designate 1 member representative to the Navajo Transitional Energy Company, the Net Development Corporation, the Navajo Times Publishing Company, Inc., and the Navajo Community Development Financial Institution. Section 3, Law and Order Committee member representative and shareholder representative designee. A, the following member from the Law and Order Committee is designated to serve as its member representative to the Navajo Transitional Energy Company, Honorable blank. B, the following member from the Law and Order Committee is designated to serve as its member representative to the Net Development Corporation, Honorable blank. C, the following member from the Law and Order Committee is designated to serve as its member representative to the Navajo Times Publishing Company, Inc., Honorable blank. D, the following member from the Law and Order Committee is designated to serve as its member representative to the Navajo Community Development Financial Institution, Honorable blank. E, the following member from the Law and Order Committee is designated to serve as its member representative to the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Corporation, Honorable blank. And this has gone through the 5-day comment, and there are no comments received at this time. Madam Vice Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine, for reading that. Next, we'll go to the sponsor. Madam Chair.
Madam Vice Chair, you need a motion first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. I need a motion for this legislation 00-23.
Motion, Delegate Daniel.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Daniel. Is there a second?
Delegate Nota, I can second that.
Thank you, Delegate Nota. All right. Are there any comments at this time? Questions?
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, this is Dan. I believe we have an amendment.
That's correct. So am I able to make an amendment at this time? Could I get some help from our legal, from Loya?
Madam Chair,
Madam,
this is Laura.
Go ahead, Loya, you have the floor.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just trying to get to my mute button. This is Loya Henderson with Office of Legislative Counsel. As you would not be able to make the amendment to the legislation. However, I'm not sure if someone on the floor is able to make the amendment for you, because you are in now as standing as the presiding chair of the meeting. But typically, if there was a question or an amendment to be made, then the sponsoring delegate, which is Madam Chair, would need to present the legislation and then an amendment.
Okay. Go ahead, Delegate Daniels. You have the floor.
Okay, Madam Chair, can we hear from the sponsor first? Legislation names, Folge. Thank you.
Yes, we can do that. Go ahead, Madam Chair. You have the floor. And you have 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for assisting me as I do present this legislation to the Law and Order Committee. Legislation number 0099-23 is a legislation that does appoint Law and Order Committee members to serve as shareholders on the various enterprises across the Navajo Nation. Those enterprises being Navajo Transitional Energy Company, as well as the Diné Development Corporation, Navajo Times, Navajo Community Development Financial Institution, Navajo Oil and Gas. So those are the enterprises that committee members will be appointed to. The legislation does provide information about the various bylaws and the charters that are attached to the enterprises that do require shareholders from the committees. I believe that this legislation was initially presented, I want to say maybe 22nd, 21st Navajo Nation Council. And since that time, and maybe it was even before that time, that there were shareholders who were assigned, delegates that were assigned as shareholders. The Navajo Transitional Energy Corporation does have an operating agreement, and it does require that 5 members represent the interest in the company. It does state it within the legislation. One of those members being from each of the 5 standing committees of the Navajo Nation Council. So that's for Intech. Diné Development Corporation does provide, the bylaws state that it does provide that that as sole shareholders, the Navajo Nation shares in the corporation will be exercised by 5 shareholder representatives, comprised of 1 member of each of the 5 standing committees of the Navajo Nation Council. Then you go down to the next, the Navajo Times Publishing Company. Their bylaws state that shareholders, again, as a sole shareholder, the Navajo Nation shares in the corporation shall be exercised by 5 shareholder representatives, comprised of 1 member of each of the 5 standing committees of the Navajo Nation Council. You go down to E on the legislation, it says the bylaws of the Navajo Community Development Financial Institution state that the Navajo Nation shares in the corporation shall be exercised by 5 shareholder representatives, composed of 1 member of the standing committees of the Navajo Nation Council. F states that the charter of the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Corporation of Article 5 does state that all rights of the shareholder of the corporation shall be exercised by the appointed shareholder representatives, composed of 1 member from each of the standing committees of the Navajo Nation Council. G does state that the Law and Order Committee is permitted to designate 1 member representative to the Navajo Transitional Energy Corporation, the Diné Development Corporation, the Navajo Times Publishing Company, and the Navajo Community Development Financial Institution. This question was brought up when Nabikiatsket delegates were assigned to the various enterprises to serve as shareholders. And I believe that the question did arise at RDC as well from the information that was shared at Nabikiatsket regarding the appointment of delegates to serve as shareholders per the bylaws that were created and approved by council from the various enterprises. So at today, what we do need to do, I think that we may be the very last committee to be appointing members from the Law and Order Committee to the various enterprises to serve as shareholders. And we do have blank lines within the legislation on page 3 of 3 that need to be filled in for those delegates who will serve as a shareholder for Intech, a shareholder for Data Development Corporation, a shareholder for Navajo Times Publishing Company, a shareholder for Navajo Community Development Financial Institution, and then a shareholder for the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Corporation. Again, our Resources and Development has made their assignments. Health Education Human Services has made their assignments, as well as Navik Iyatske. I don't know if Budget and Finance has moved their legislation forward, but today we do have this legislation before the committee to make recommendations to the various enterprises that they will be serving on. I will state that during the 24th Navajo Nation Council as shareholder, I did send information to the entire 24th Navajo Nation Council about meetings that were going on, as well as information that was being shared. I did make various requests to Speaker Damon at the time to ask that Intech present the information to the entire body of council. I don't believe that any of those were ever honored. We did have Navajo Transitional Energy Company come before us during the 25th Navajo Nation Council. However, there were little to no questions being asked of them at the time. And so the information that shareholders do receive, it is our duty and responsibilities to be sharing that with the council. And if the council wants to proceed forward with calling the corporation forward, it is the right of council to do so. I know that the various times that I requested for Intech to present to council, there was no support. And so maybe that was a reason why Intech never properly presented to the 24th Navajo Nation Council. The responsibilities are listed within the enterprise's bylaws. I believe that during orientation, Dana did present that information to the 25th Navajo Nation Council to let them know what their duties and responsibilities are as well as a shareholder to the Navajo people, and then also to the 25th Navajo Nation Council. I say that because I know that Dana was called upon to ask questions regarding that issue. So I just want to make that known. It is within the laws. Again, these are the bylaws. My understanding, the bylaws of each enterprise was presented to council, and council did approve those bylaws with a legitimate vote that was done for each of the enterprises. And by doing so, they did agree to appointing a shareholder representative to each of the enterprises. I understand that there is a legislation going through the process requesting the amendments be made to that particular legislation that approved those shareholders and what the process is. And I think from my understanding at Navik Iyatske, that legislation, I don't know if it was tabled at RDC, but I know that we did get information from RDC that there were questions that needed to be answered regarding the changes that need to be made. So at this time, as chairwoman for Law and Order Committee, I am expected to move this legislation forward because we do by law have to appoint the various delegates from the Law and Order Committee to serve as shareholders. If you look at the legislation, again, the bylaws, the language of the bylaws are included within the legislation. I believe that Dana was tasked to find the original legislation for each of the bylaws and when they were approved. So with that, Madam Vice Chair, I do stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your legislation. Are there any questions from the floor? If not, then are there, is anyone out to make there to make a motion and a second? Sit down.
Madam Vice Chair, this is Delegate Daniels.
Go ahead, Delegate Daniels.
Thank you. Kudo Shema, Kudo Chair Charles Newton, Kudo Shehad, Baba Shehidna, Kudo Nazaid from Law and Order Committee, Nazaid shareholders. So Kudo Nazaid, believe we need to fill in the blank lines Kudo Nazaid for shareholders. So I don't know if that amendment is ready. If it's ready, I want to make that motion to fill in the blank lines for so it is for Navajo Transitional Energy Company, the Net Development Corporation, Navajo Times Publishing Company, Navajo Community Development Financial Institution, and the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Corporation. So I don't know if that amendment is ready. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Daniels. Chair Newton, are we ready to put the names into the different sections, the line items?
Yes, thank you for that, Vice Chair. After, as you all may recall, during the Nabik Iyatsket meeting, we did have a caucus to decide how the Law and Order Committee wanted to proceed forward. So from my understanding, the very first name for Navajo Transitional Energy Company is myself, Delegate Eugenia Charles Newton. For the second Diné Development Corporation, that is Delegate Nathan Nota. For Navajo Times Publishing Company, that is Delegate Sherilyn Yazzie. For Navajo Community Development Financial Institution, that is Delegate Herman Daniels. And then for Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Corporation, that is Delegate Stephen Arviso. That is the agreement that we made at the Law and Order Committee meeting when we had to decide who was going to be assigned to the various committee meetings, or I'm sorry, shareholders. And the reason why we did that was because we were trying to figure out with the Nabik Iyatsket legislation who was going to be appointed as the various shareholder representatives. And in order to do that, it did require the committee members to caucus and to determine within each of their committees which delegate was going to be serving as shareholder on the I guess on the enterprises. So that is based on my notes at this time. Vice Chair, I hope that Loya was able to get that information as well as Lorraine, but that is the information that I have been able to collect at this time as chair and as sponsor of this legislation. Thank you, Vice Chair. I stand for questions.
Are there any other questions at this time?
Madam Vice Chair, this is Daniel.
All right, go ahead, Delegate Daniels, you have the floor.
Yes, Nana Kudo Shema Kudo Magnet. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, here the Nabaki hit. So with that, Kudo the Madam Chair, at the meeting, I want to make that amendment. So on page 3 of 3, line 6, where it says Honorable, I'm going to fill in the blanks, Eugenia Charles Newton. That same page, 3 of 3. line 9. Yeah.
Mr. Nota,
Nathan Nota. Ado line 12. Ya Kadoda Sherilyn Yazi, Honorable Yazi. Ado line 15. Herman Daniels Jr. Into line 18. Honorable Stephen Arvizo. Thank you.
I second that, Delegate Nota.
All right, thank you for the motion and the second. Are there any questions on the amendment? Going once, twice. All right, so we can go to a vote. Sherelle, could we do a roll call vote?
Okay, thank you. Roll call vote for Amendment 1. Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Delegate Charles Newton votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green, please.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. With the Honorable Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie not voting, Vice Chair.
All right, thank you. Now we will go back to the main motion. Are there any questions on the main motion? And if not, we will go to a roll call vote.
Madam Vice Chair, I can do the second reading.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Members of the Law and Order Committee. Amendment to legislation number 0099-23. On page 3, line 6, after Honorable, insert Eugenia Charles Newton. Page 3, line 9, after Honorable, insert Nathan Nota. Page 3, line 12, after Honorable, insert Sherilyn Yazzie. Page 3, line 15, after Honorable, insert Herman M. Daniels Jr. Page 3, line 18, after Honorable, insert Stephen Arvizo. And then there's no other number or re-letter succeeding paragraphs, sections, and exhibits as necessary and appropriate. Madam Vice Chair.
All right, thank you for that second reading, Lorraine. And I believe we would be ready for a roll call vote. Sherelle, could we do a roll call vote?
Okay, Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Delegate Newton votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Delegate Nota, I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. With that, Honorable Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie not voting, Vice Chair.
All right, so 0099-23 passes. And I will give the floor back to Chair Charles Newton.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair, for assisting me with that. And thank you, delegates, for also assisting us while we get through legislation number 0099-23. So we'll go ahead and we'll proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is 7B, legislation number 0108-23. Do we have the sponsors on the line, Delegate Carl Slater or Speaker Seth Damon? Second call for legislation number 0108-23. Do we have either of the sponsors on the line? Delegate Carl Slater, Speaker Seth Damon. Last and final call for legislation number 0108-23. Do we have either of the sponsors on the line? Delegate Carl Slater or Speaker Seth Damon? Okay, not hearing anything. We'll go ahead and move legislation number 0108-23 to the next Law and Order Committee. Lorraine, if you can reach out to the sponsors and let them know that their legislation has been moved and that it will be presented at the next Law and Order Committee. So we'll go ahead and move forward to item C, 7C on the agenda, legislation number 0104-23. That is myself as the sponsor. So at this time, Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, I would like to ask if I'm going to go ahead and turn the gavel and the chair over to you so that I can present my legislation.
Thank you, Chair Charles Newton. All right. So we have the sponsor for this legislation, number 0104-23. Could we get a reading from Lorraine?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair. Thank you. Proposed Nomination Council Resolution, 25th Nomination Council, first year 2023, introduced by Eugenia Charles Newton, tracking number 0104-23, an act relating to the Law and Order and Nabakia Etiquette Committees and the Nomination Council, amending the Sex Offenders Registration and Notification Act in Title 17 of the Nomination Code. This will move forward to Nabakia Etiquette Committee and Nomination Council. And this has gone through the 5-day comment. And there's only one comment that is supporting. It's attached to the legislation at the end of the document. And it's from Leonard Redhorse III. And you'll see that as attached at the end of the page, and it's signed by Darrell Moon, Chief of Police, Nomination Police Department. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Lorraine. Do we have a motion and a second?
Motion, Delegate Herman Daniels Jr.
Arvizo, second.
Thank you, Delegate Daniels and Arvizo. So we will go to the sponsor of this legislation, Chair Charles Newton. You have 20 minutes to present your legislation.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair. Committee members and colleagues, I do come before you as a sponsor for legislation number 0104-23, which is to amend the current SORNA, I'm sorry, when we say SORNA, I apologize for the acronym, the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act, which is found within Title 17 of the Navajo Nation Code. The changes that are being presented at this time will help to assist the Navajo Nation Police Department to register those offenders in a timely fashion those sex offenders who have been charged with sexual offenses that do require registration as a sex offender. Currently, we do have police officers who are doing the registration. However, there has been a push by the Navajo Nation Police Department to allow civilians to do the registration, allowing officers to be able to respond to sex offenders who have absconded or to other matters within the Navajo Nation. The work that the work that is being done to register are administrative, and the Navajo Nation Police Department did come forward to request that it be given, the responsibilities be given to civilians to register them, and then to put officers back out onto the street. Currently, colleagues, we do have on the sex offenders public site as of last year in 2022, there were a total of 643 offenders. We currently have the largest number of tier 3 sex offenders on the Navajo Nation at 495. The tier 3 sex offenders are those individuals who are basically maybe I guess maybe the best way to put it is they're the worst of the worst type of sex offenders. These sex offenders do come onto the Navajo Nation. They have to be registered on the Navajo Nation. There is a public site that is available to the public for purposes of sharing information, and then also keeping individuals safe where these individuals are listed. As of 2022, there were 127 offenders who were overdue in registering. My understanding is that this amendment would allow officers to respond to those who are not registering. And then at the time, there were 39 individuals who absconded. Absconded means that we don't know where they're at. They have not registered, not only with the Navajo Nation, but they haven't registered with the state. And it is a requirement per the law that they do register, and that we track where these individuals are at. Again, the civilian employees would be staffed in the SORNA office to provide that administrative support. And they are able to register sex offenders, which would allow officers to be out in the field. This is a legislation that is supported by the Navajo Nation Police Department as well as the prosecutor's office. So I'm hoping that this change in the amendment will allow, again, the response time to properly register sex offenders, and then to also respond to those who haven't been who are overdue in registering or re-registering, and then those who have absconded. I don't know if my agents are on the line. Chief of Police Daryl Noon. I'm looking at the screen right now. I don't see his name on here. Do we have anybody from Navajo Police Department on the line?
Madam Chair, this is Chief Noon. I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Chief Noon, I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to you. If there's anything that I may have forgotten to mention, now is the opportunity to do so. Chief Noon, as my agent.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time, members of the Law and Order Committee, and everybody listening online. So I didn't really work on a lot of the changes that were suggested, and I think most of them, when it comes to the law, it was really more just updating the language to reflect current times. And the biggest change that we had been pushing was for this civilian position to conduct registration of sex offenders. And the reason for that is, as you know, and everybody knows, that our staffing levels are not optimal to have our officers conducting these different administrative processes. And this goes along the same lines as some of the changes we're trying to make with our investigations and how we are creating civilian investigators to help supplement our investigations. So this is the same mindset, that I pushed for this program because we were, as the law read, we were required to provide full-time police officers to conduct these registrations. So, and what I would also am looking to try to accomplish by doing this is providing, more jobs for people who are not necessarily interested in becoming police officers, but, have that desire to work in the criminal justice field. Maybe they have a degree in criminal justice, but they're not necessarily wanting to become police officers. I think this will serve that purpose. And we would be able to, hire more civilians to help supplement law enforcement services, which will allow police officers, uniformed police officers to be out on the road responding to calls. So there would still be a component of commissioned officers tied to this program because, the officers who've been doing this job have been doing a great job at it and, conducting operations, finding absconders, going out and looking for people. And obviously we can't have civilians do that. So there would still be a connection there with the officers. But I just think this is something that's going to be the new wave in law enforcement. I've noticed in other agencies, there have been more civilian police or people hired to help law enforcement services. And I just think this makes sense. And aside from everything else you've already talked about, I really don't know what else to add. This is ready to go. We've already met with DPM. They're just waiting for this legislation to get approved, and we're gonna start the program. Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you for that, Chief. So with that, committee members, our presentation is complete. We do stand for questions at this time. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the floor?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Delegate Nota.
Okay, thank you. I do know that we do have tremendous numbers of sex offenders, and we need to get a kind of a handle on this. And I think this might be a good method. I appreciate your input, Chief Noon, and I know that Chair has also done some work in this area and probably looked through this and made sure that the changes are proper and so forth. So I just want to let you guys know that I do support this. Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments at this time? Going once, twice, 3 times. All right, well, thank you for this legislation. I do also support the work that has been done in the past and that we're going to be moving forward to provide more protections to our families and our relatives on this. So we have a motion and a second, so let's go to a vote. Sherelle, could you do a roll call vote?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Delegate Arvizo votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton, how do you vote?
Delegate Charles Newton votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Vice Chair not voting. Vice Chair.
All right, thank you. Legislation 0104-23 pass, and I will give the floor back to Chair Charles Newton. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair, again for assisting me with my legislation and taking the chair at this time. So we're going to go ahead and move down to item 7D, legislation number 0078-23. I believe that the sponsor did announce himself on the call earlier to this morning, and I do see him on the call, but just for the record, do we have sponsor Delegate Andy Naz on the line?
Yeah, Chair Charles Newton. This is Delegate Nez. I'm online.
Thank you for announcing yourself at this time, Delegate Naz. We'll go ahead and read the legislation number 0078-23 into the record. The sponsor is here. Lorraine, can you assist us with that?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Law and Order Committee. Proposed Standing Committee Resolution 25th Nomination Council, first year 2023, introduced by Andy Naz, tracking number 007823. This legislation will stay with the Law and Order Committee as the final authority. An action related to Law and Order Committee approving an allocation of $1,709,270 from the Judicial Public Safety Fund to the Navajo Department of Corrections for project management services to continue planning, design, and construction of a new Judicial Public Safety Center. Being acted, Section 1, Authority. The Law and Order Committee was established as a standing committee of the Nomination Council and has oversight authority over the Nomination Division of Public Safety. 2 in NC Section 600A and 2 in NC Section 601C1. Section 2 findings. A, the Nomination Council established the Judicial Public Safety Facilities Fund, JPS Fund, and Resolution CJA-03-07 to provide money for the planning and construction of judicial and public safety facilities across the nomination. The Law and Order Committee approved $2,726,729.24 from the JPS Fund and the Resolution LOCAP-01-22, which is attached as Exhibit A for on-call project management services of DOC's numerous judicial public safety projects. B, at the end of the fiscal year 2022, $1,709,270 of the funding allocated to DOC for the on-call project management services remain unencumbered. As a result, the funding lapsed and revert back to the JPS Fund, as noted in Director Gray-Eye's memo dated March 28, 2023, attached as Exhibit B. C, the Office of Controller drafted a memo dated March 28, 2023, attached as Exhibit C, indicating the balance available in the JPSF Fund as of February 28, 2023 is $8,309,511. D, DOC's explanation of the need for funds and its budget transfer form are attached as Exhibit D. Section 3, approving the allocation. The Law and Order Committee hereby approves the allocation from the Judicial Public Safety Fund in the amount of $1,709,270 to the Department of Corrections Business Unit number 516003 for on-call project management services. Following is a letter from Dr. Andy Naz, Nomination Council Delegate, to all Nomination Council, 25th Nomination Council, dated March 27, 23. Exhibit A is the LOCAP-02-22. Following that is Exhibit B, which is the letter or the memorandum from Dolores Gray-Eyes, PhD Director, Dr. Dolores Gray-Eyes, Department of Corrections, Division of Public Safety, a request to replenish funds on-call project management services is the subject. And Exhibit C is also a letter from Robert Willie, County Manager, Office of the Controller, Judicial Public Safety Fund Balance, February 2023. And another Exhibit A, which is attached to Mr. Willie's memorandum. Also, Exhibit D is the nomination program budget summary for Judicial Public Safety Fund, and the amount of $1,709,270,000. The budget forms are attached, and it has gone through the 5-day comment process, and there are only copies received. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine, for reading legislation number 0078-23 into the record. Committee members, can I get a motion and a second at this time?
Delegate Arvizo, motion.
Motion made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. This is Sherilyn.
Second made by Delegate Sherilyn Yazzie. Committee members, if there are any questions at this time to legislation number 0078-23, I will go ahead and give 20 minutes to the sponsor, Delegate Andy Naz, to provide information regarding this legislation. However, if there are no questions regarding legislation number 0078-23, we can proceed forward to the vote. I do have to let the committee know that this is this legislation. Law and Order Committee does have final authority with this legislation. So how would the committee like to proceed at this time? Are there any questions to legislation number 0078-23? Second call, are there any questions to legislation number 0078-23? Last and final call, are there any questions to legislation number 0078-23? Okay, not hearing anything. A motion was established by Delegate Stephen Arvizo, a second by Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie. I did call 3 times to the Law and Order Committee members to ask if they had any questions. There was nobody who raised any hands, nor did they speak up. So with that, we'll go ahead and proceed forward to a roll call vote. Sherelle, can you assist us with roll call vote, please?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Delegate Arvizo, votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo, votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote? Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote? Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green. Delegate votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota, votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Chair not voting Chair.
Thank you for that. So with that, legislation number 0078-23 does pass. We are the final authority for this legislation. The sponsor was on the line. Motion was made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo, second by Sherilyn Yazzie, with a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 not voting. Congratulations, sponsor Honorable Andy Naz, for your legislation. It is hereby approved. Thank you for being on the call.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll go ahead and move forward to the next item on the agenda, legislation number 0084-23. We do have the sponsor on the line, Delegate Andy Naz. Lorraine, can you read that legislation into the record, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Law and Order Committee. Proposed Standing Committee Resolution 25th Nomination Council, first year 2023, introduced by Honorable Andy Ness, tracking number 0084-23. An action relating to Law and Order Committee and Navajo committees supporting the Navajo Nation Division of Public Safety, Window Rock Judicial Public Safety Facility relocation to Fort Defiance, Arizona. This will move forward to Navajo Committee. Exhibit A is the letter from Dolores Gray Eyes dated March 28th. Request for legislation to relocate to Window Rock Detention Center. That's the subject. And then Exhibit B is a letter to the Fort Defiance chapter from Jesse Dalmore. Exhibit C is a resolution of the Fort Defiance chapter. And there are two resolutions. And Fort Defiance chapter is attached. General Land Development Department land withdrawal checklist for community industrial development. And a letter from letter to Mr. Mike Halona, Department Manager, July 19, 2019, from Antonio Cook, Police Sergeant, Navajo Police Department, Window Rock District. And also there's a map included. And there's also a document from the Fish and Wildlife Department and Cultural Resource Compliance Forum. And also there is some supporting resolution from Fort Defiance. Exhibit D is a letter to Honorable Jonathan Ness, a nomination from Brenda Gonzalez, Special Agent in Charge. It's from the United States Department of Interior, BIA, dated November 9th, 2022. And this has gone through the 5-day comment process. And there are no comments.
Lorraine, are you done reading the legislation into the record?
Yes, I'm done, Madam Chair.
Okay, sorry about that. You kind of, on my end, it kind of went a little bit low towards the end there. So with that, committee members, legislation number 0084-23 sponsored by Delegate Andy Naz has been read into the record. Can I get a motion and a second for this legislation? Committee members, legislation number 0084-23 sponsored by Delegate Andy Naz has been read into the record. Can I get a motion and a second at this time?
I'll make a motion.
Motion.
Motion made by Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, second by Delegate Herman Daniels. Committee members, are there any questions to legislation 0084-23? If there are questions, I will turn the floor over to the sponsor for 20 minutes to present his legislation. However, if there are no questions to legislation number 0084-23, we can proceed forward to the vote. How would the committee like to proceed? Are there any questions for legislation number 0084-23? Second call, are there any questions for legislation number 0084-23?
Not for me.
Last and final call, are there any questions for legislation number 0084?
It goes to the full council, so.
Yeah, no questions here.
Okay, not hearing anything, we can go ahead and proceed to a roll call vote. Sherelle, can you assist us with that, please?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Shirley Nyazi, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Shirley Nyazi votes green. With that, Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton not voting, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. So legislation number 0084-23. We did have the sponsored delegate Andy Naz on the line. This legislation does proceed forward to the Nabi Kiyatske. So it does pass from the Law and Order Committee with a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 not voting. Thank you, Delegate Andy Naz, for being on the line, ready to sponsor your legislation. I believe all of your legislations have been heard at the Law and Order Committee, so you are hereby excused. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
So committee members, we then move down to item 7F, which is discussion purpose and to set the date for a meeting between Law and Order Committee and Kayenta Township at the Kayenta Fire Department. We do need a date and time to set this meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor. We do need a motion and a second so that we can begin to have this conversation or this discussion.
Delegate Arvizo, motion.
Delegate Nota seconds.
Motion made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo, second by Delegate Nathan Nota. So with that, committee members, we are open to discussion. Again, there was a request made to the Law and Order Committee to invite us out to the Kayenta Township. This is regarding the report that we received last week where the Kayenta Township is wishing to purchase, or I'm sorry, no, wishing to transfer title from the Navajo Nation to the township. There was a request that we, as a committee, go out to the fire department there in Kayenta. There was also a request from the township and also from Chief Chi to develop a service map so that we can see how far out the service goes, and then also to look at the facility itself. This was a request made by the township, and then also a request made by the properties. I believe it was properties. So with that, committee members, if you guys can open up your calendar. And I know that, you know, this week there are a lot of things going on with graduation. On Monday, the 29th, we will not be meeting per the law in Navajo Nation Code. The Law and Order Committee does meet the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Mondays of every month. So we did this today. Today is our last Law and Order Committee meeting for the month of May. So we look into June. The next Law and Order Committee meeting will be scheduled on June 12th. The one after that is June 19th, and the one after that is June 26th. We can meet and have a regular Law and Order Committee meeting there in Kayenta, and then upon completion, we can do a tour of the facility and ask questions to prepare, because it will require a legislation. Committee members, if this transfer does occur, it will require legislation. Or we can schedule a special leadership meeting to head to Kayenta outside of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Monday of June. Head there to Kayenta and have a meeting specifically for the fire department. So how would the committee like to proceed?
This is Delegate Yazzie. I prefer to have the meetings at the same time as or after our LOC meetings, if that's possible. That works for everybody.
I agree. Delegate Nota.
Great. Well, we have two committee members who are requesting that we do have this meeting at a regular Law and Order Committee meeting. So committee members, right now we're looking at June 12th, June 19th, or June 26th to hold this meeting. Are there any specific dates? And technically this day should be marked out since we do have Law and Order Committee per the code on the second, third, and fourth Mondays of the month. So how would the committee like to proceed? And I'm going to request at this time, we, that at this meeting that we all be present. Anytime we have a meeting where the community invites us to come out, I think that as a committee, that should be a priority and we should all be present at that time to hear the concerns of the community, but also in situations where it requires us to take a look at facilities that we be present as well. So with that, committee members, June 12th, June 19th, June 26th, or we can move into July. How would the committee like to proceed?
I can be available for sure on June 19th.
Committee members, we have a suggestion of June 19th. Are we all good with June 19th? It gives us plenty of time to make arrangements and then also to make sure that we be out there in Kayenta at that time.
Madam Chair, this is Delegate Daniels.
Delegate Daniels, the floor is yours.
Madam Chair, I don't have a meeting, a regular meeting, or a leadership meeting out at Kayenta Township. I know we have another item on the agenda that's Monument Valley Fire Station. I was thinking to have a leadership meeting as a big function, but this is my a leadership meeting to visit Kayenta. After that meeting, go to Monument Valley and have a tour and a meeting there with the San Juan County Fire Department. So that way we don't have to go back 2 times because of Kayenta to Monument Valley is like 20 minutes drive. So it is on hinge but a leadership meeting so that way we can be out here all day in the morning with Kayenta and in the afternoon Monument Valley. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you for that, Delegate Daniels. Committee members, just a little bit of background information. The request that Delegate Daniels is making regarding the Monument Valley Fire Department, which is actually 20 miles away from Kayenta, there has been an issue that was presented to us in that because of the Utah-Arizona state line, Utah is not allowed to cross into Arizona to provide fire services to those living in the Arizona, the state of Arizona. And then Kayenta, what we need to find out is how far their service goes, because as Delegate Daniel stated in a previous meeting, that there was a home that was taken by fire because nobody responded. Nobody, there was a question of jurisdiction. And that's where Delegate Daniels is trying to create services for the people in his area that doesn't see the boundaries of providing services to the Navajo people. And it is it's a very interesting area because not only is there the jurisdiction between Utah and Arizona, but there's also the jurisdiction between the park services and then park services and then the Navajo Nation, which also muddies the water again. So I think that Delegate Daniels does pose a really good point in that both should be done on the same day since they're only 20 miles apart. And as chair, I am requesting that we do have this in-person meeting So I'm looking at my calendar, and I think that if we are going to do both tours of Kayenta and of Monument Valley, we can do that on June 26th. We can get a report from the fire department, from both fire departments, and then we can visit both areas to get an idea of the service area, and then also what Delegate Daniels is talking about in terms of the fire services being provided to his area. I know that again, June 26th is far out and enough. I guess it gives both Kayenta and also the community of Monument Valley and the community there in that area it gives them enough notice to let them know that we will be traveling out there as a committee. So how does the committee feel about June 26th having visiting both the Kayenta and Monument Valley area? Committee members?
Madam Chair, this is Delegate Nota.
Delegate Nota, go ahead.
Based on Delegate Daniel's comments and then what you just mentioned just now, I would prefer to do that on the 26th and then have do the visits both to Monument Valley and Kayenta both during that day. I would have that preference, just to let you know.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Delegate Nota. Delegate Daniels, are you good with June 26th having meetings on both tours on that same day?
Madam Chair, yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, June 26th at 10 o'clock a.m., a regular Law and Order Committee, and then touring both facilities.
That would work. There's plenty of time to plan that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Stephen Arvizo, are we good with June 26th at 10 o'clock a.m.?
Vice Chair, Chair, I'm sorry. Yes, I'll call in that day. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I'll be available. I'll make myself available.
Delegate Arvizo, I'm starting to appreciate the humor that you bring to Law and Order Committee. So thank you all. So just for clarification, we do have a date and time selected for item 7F, Lorraine. The discussion purpose and to set the meeting between Law and Order Committee and the Kayenta Township. We'll go ahead and add on to that the Kayenta Township, but also the Monument Valley community as well. I believe that Delegate Daniels did make an amendment at the very beginning to have that topic as a discussion item, but we just now discussed it. And this is for the Monument Valley, like their area regarding the fire department. That was an amendment that was made to the agenda. So I think we killed, what's the expression? We killed two birds with one stone by having that discussion. The motion was made to have this discussion. The motion was made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo and a second by Nathan Nota. So with that, committee members, we'll go ahead and we'll make those changes. And again, we did take care of item F and item H. So we do have a date and a time selected. Are there any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Lorraine.
Yeah, I just have a question. So where will the meeting be at?
Lorraine, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have the meeting at the Kayenta Fire Department. And then when we're done, we're going to tour the facility there in Kayenta, and then we're going to move on to Monument Valley.
Okay, also just to let you know that June the 19th is a holiday for the Navajo Nation.
Lorraine, selected June 26th as the day.
Yeah. Yeah, just letting you know that there's a holiday on the 19th also. Thank you.
What is the holiday on June 19th?
Juneteenth holiday.
Is that a Navajo Nation recognized holiday?
Yes. It was done on June 17, 2021. That was signed into law.
Is it a recognized holiday as if we're just recognizing it, or is it like a day off for Navajo Nation employees?
It says it's a Navajo Nation Government Office. Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, which was signed into law on June 17, 2021. The newest nation's federal holiday.
So again, Lorraine, just for clarification, did the Navajo Nation, I'm sorry, Dr. Bradster, we can give you your meeting going on. Thank you. I'm sorry, Lorraine. So so there's two types of holidays that the Navajo Nation has. One is one that we recognize and everybody goes to work. And the other one is one that we recognize and everybody is off and they get paid for that holiday. So which one is it? Do we recognize it and everybody goes to work? Or is it one that's recognized and everybody's off for the day?
It's recognized and everybody's off.
Okay. Okay, well, it sounds like we're going to have to reschedule the June 19th meeting. Then can you send that legislation my way so that we can use that as means for changing our Law and Order Committee meeting date? But we'll go ahead and go back to June 26th. June 26th at 10 o'clock a.m. We're going to have a regular Law and Order Committee meeting. At that time, we will hear a report from the fire department, as well as a report from the Monument Valley community. And then we'll go ahead and tour the facility there in Kayenta and then make our way to Monument Valley as well. So we do have that, and it was item F on the agenda, 7F and H. A motion was made by Delegate Stephen Arvizo, a second by Nathan Nota, Delegate Nathan Nota. With that, committee members, are there any questions or comments? Okay, not hearing anything. Sherelle, can you assist us with the roll call vote, please?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote? Honorable
Delegate
Herman,
Arvizo votes.
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Agree.
Thank you, Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, you have 4 in favor, 0 opposed, and Madam Chair Charles Newton not voting, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. With a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed. Again, we did discuss item F and H on the agenda. So we'll go ahead and we'll move forward to item G, 7G on the agenda, which again is another discussion purpose item, and it's to set the date for a meeting between Law and Order Committee. I think that we also need to include Lorraine Health Education Human Services on this, and then DBHS on the Alcohol Treatment Center that's located in Shiprock, Mexico. This information was provided to us by Director Gray Eyes when she was giving some information about the Alcohol and Detox Center. We do have one on the Navajo Nation, and it will require a tour of the facility because we do currently have a alcohol and detox treatment facility on the Navajo Nation. So for discussion purposes, can I get a motion and a second?
Motion, Daniels.
Motion made by Delegate Herman Daniels. Can I get a second?
Delegate Nota, I'll second that motion.
Second made by Delegate Nathan Nota. So with that, committee members, again, some background information when Director Gray Eyes presented to us on the Alcohol and Detox Center. there was a request that we help to assist in also creating a detox and rehabilitation center in Chinle. However, at that time, it was also reported to us that there currently is a facility in Shiprock that is understaffed and currently not being used as a result of not, I guess, basically not having the manpower in place. So as a chairwoman of Law and Order Committee, I think we do need to take a look at this facility, but it also is within my area as well. And I have toured the facility along with Vice President Rochelle Montoya. And I think that the Navajo Nation, the employees there would like to talk about a little, I guess, the issues that is currently affecting this center where we can be sending our Navajo people to. So a motion has been made by Delegate Herman Daniels, a second by Delegate Nathan Nota. We can, again, committee members, we can move this into July since we do have the upcoming June 12th Law and Order Committee meeting. There is the June 19th Navajo Nation holiday. It sounds like our Navajo Nation employees will not be working during that time. So we do have to reschedule our June 19th Law and Order Committee meeting. And then we also have a June 26th Law and Order Committee meeting where we're already going to be in Kayenta. So if you could pull out your calendars, pull out your appointment books and tell me what days work for you for July. We would be meeting July 10th, July 17th, and July 24th. Those are the days currently that are being, that they can meet on. So we can meet at a regular, call a special leadership meeting. How would the committee like to proceed?
Madam Chair?
Lorraine, go ahead.
So July 17th is the Navajo Nation Council summer session. That will start that week. Thank you.
You are correct. Thank you for that, Lorraine. You are correct. So in July, the Law and Order Committee will be meeting on July 10th, July 24th, and July 31st. And the reason for the 31st is because the 17th is the first day of summer session. So again, committee members, how would you guys like to proceed? I don't think we're going to have a Law and Order Committee scheduled on July 3rd because I think everybody's going to be, busy with July 4th. So the Law and Order Committee, again, meeting will be July 10th, the 24th, and the 31st. So we can have this meeting on a regular meeting, or we can call a leadership meeting. How would the committee like to proceed?
Madam Chair, this is Daniels.
Delegate Daniels, the floor is yours.
Yes, having our meetings out there in the road, I think so with that, I would propose July 10th at the big let's have a meeting out at Shiprock and also tour the facility, the treatment center. So 80 out there. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Delegate Daniels. The proposal at this time is to meet July 10th in Shiprock to have a regular Law and Order Committee meeting and then to tour the facility thereafter. Committee members, are there any other suggestions, any comments that you'd like to make at this time?
This is Delegate Yazzie. I like that date as well, July 10th. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair.
This is Delegate Nota. I'm good with that as well.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Delegate Arvizo?
I won't be able to make July 10th. I'm out of the country. And if I could be excused, that'll be okay.
Thank you for letting us know about that, Delegate Arvizo. Yes, I mean, obviously you have other engagements going on. So July 10th is the date that we can meet in Shiprock. Again, we will invite HES, Health Education Human Services, along as well during that time, so that we can tour the facility together. If HES cannot do it, we'll leave it to HES to tour the facility on a separate date, but we are going to propose to have a joint meeting with HES to tour this facility, since it does involve both Law and Order Committee and also Health Education Human Services. We'll also, Lorraine, for the record, we do need to send out an email right away to Health Education Human Services, the Law and Order Committee, as well as those at the treatment facility in Shiprock, so that they know that we will be visiting and possibly having a joint meeting at that time. And then we also will probably need somebody from, I know that we do have Miss Vicky Shirley from Office of the President and Vice President, who is on the line. We need to invite Office of President and Vice President, as well as the judicial branch. And the reason for the judicial branch is because when the judges are court ordering individuals for treatment, they need to be aware of the treatment facility that is available there for the Navajo Nation. We also, Lorraine, add to that Navajo Nation Police Department, probably the commander for the Northern Agency, who probably should be present during that time. And then if we also, the staff obviously also need to be present there as well. So with that, committee members, are there any other questions or comments at this time? The date has been selected for July 10th at 10 o'clock a.m. Second call for questions, comments, further suggestions. Elliot Daniels.
Yes. Thank you very much. Honorable Arvizo, that date of Bobby Gata. So, we want this case of that date, I need to add in the John Dodge from this case of I don't know, give enough time to his committee. I know this is enough time to be probably vaccines. I don't know if the 24th is that's Bobby got Delegate Arvizo. I don't know.
Delegate Arvizo, are you available for July 24th?
Yeah, Madam Chair, yes, I am. I will be available on the 24th.
Thank you for that, Delegate Arvizo. Delegate Nathan Nota, are you available on July 24th?
Yes.
Thank you, Delegate Nota. Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie, are you available on July 24th?
I do want to bring up that week I have on my calendar that the three of us from Law and Order will be going to Tibic, and I believe the Monday is usually a travel day for everybody. So it would be, everybody would be in Shiprock, and then they would have to go back out to get to their flights. So I'm not sure if that would work.
Thank you for that, Vice Chair. We haven't received any information yet. The last email I believe that I received from Tibic was that they are still trying to find a location and also a date. So I'm not sure at this point if that has been solidified just yet. But just so everybody, Delegate Nathan Nota, Delegate Sherilyn Yazzie, the closest airport to Shiprock or from Shiprock is in Durango. American Airlines, as well as Alaska Airlines. United Airlines does fly out directly from Durango, and that's an hour-and-a-half drive from Shiprock. So that is an alternative in the event that we do have to travel out that evening. We would still have time to make it to the airport for a
Would the following Monday work for everybody, July 31st?
July 31st is being proposed at this time. Delegate Stephen Arvizo, are you good with July 31st? Delegate Stephen
Madam
Arvizo.
Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I am available on that day also.
July 31st, Delegate Stephen Arvizo is available. Delegate Sherilyn Yazzie has made the recommendation. Delegate Herman Daniels, are you available on July 31st?
Madam Chair, I got cut off, but I'm good with that, the 31st. Thank you.
Delegate Daniels is good with July 31st. Delegate Nathan Nota, are you good with July 31st?
Yes.
Great. So everybody is available July 31st for the Shiprock meeting with Law and Order Committee, Health, Education, Human Services, and DBHS. So we'll be sending out the email hopefully before the end of tomorrow. Lorraine, if you can start working on that so that we can invite everyone with the one email, and then also get a memo out to let, even though it's not off reservation travel, at least let Speaker Curley know that we'll be having a meeting out there in Shiprock. So with that, committee members, the discussion for this meeting, there was a motion made by Delegate Herman Daniels, a second by Delegate Nathan Nota, with the suggestion of July 31st at 10 o'clock a.m. Committee members, if there's no other questions, we can go ahead and move to a roll call vote. Not hearing anything. Sherelle, can you assist us with roll call vote, please?
Yes, Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Delegate Arvizo votes green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Charles Newton, yeah, 4 in favor, 0 opposed. And Honorable Madam Chair Eugenia Charles Newton not voting, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. So with that, committee members, with a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, the date and the time for the Shiprock Treatment Center for July 31st. Again, Lorraine and I will start working to get everybody informed about that. So we move forward to item number 8. We are at the close of the meeting, but before I call for a motion and a second to adjourn, I'd like to ask, are there any announcements from any of the delegates at this time? Okay, not hearing anything. Committee members, I do want to remind you that tomorrow we do have a meeting in Tempe, Arizona. This was approved at a Law and Order Committee meeting. The meeting will start at 9 o'clock a.m. Tempe time. So today we have been approved for travel. We should be the ORT has us setting out for travel today, with the meeting tomorrow scheduled 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and then traveling home on Wednesday, the 24th. On Thursday, the 25th, committee members, just a reminder again, we have a regular Nabik Iatskit meeting that is scheduled. And then we are still planning for the May 31st, June 1st, June 2nd leadership meeting that's going to be taking place at Twin Arrows Navajo Casino Resort. We do have an agenda that is set. I'm working right now with the Arizona Attorney General's office. Actually, it's not the Arizona, it's the AUSA, the United States Attorney General's office, to present information. as well as the FBI, who are at this point planning to attend. We also I did inform the speaker about this event, and I asked that she also be in attendance. We'll be inviting the entire 25th Navajo Nation Council because it sets the stage for the need to amend Title 17, which is our criminal code. There has been a request by Delegate Rick Nez several times. I know during the 24th he made the request, and then again during the 25th to have presentation on fundamental law. And that's what we're going to be starting off with, is fundamental law. And so we'll hopefully have the judicial branch presenting information to us at that time. So we are we're working on the agenda right now with the speakers, and hopefully we'll have a more solidified agenda, but just make sure that you are present during that time. Again, May 31st, June 1st, and then June 2nd. This is a leadership meeting, and it will begin promptly at 9 o'clock, Twin Arrows time. I know everybody always gets confused, but we're going to go by Twin Arrows time. In addition to that, committee members, our next Law and Order Committee meeting is going to be on June 12th, and then June 19th, and then June 26th, as was decided today, we'll be having a meeting in Kayenta at a regular Law and Order Committee meeting. Then for July, we have July 10th, July 24th, and then July 31st will be a special Law and Order Committee meeting. And that's going to be held in Shiprock at the Alcohol Detox Center that's located here in the community. So those are the announcements that we have at this time. We'll look into the Juneteenth, which is June 19th. I'm not sure if we do have, if it's actually a day where all the Navajo Nation employees are off. We'll get more information out to the committee. In the event that that does occur, committee members will have to schedule a special Law and Order Committee meeting. But I do want to caution, I know that we have Delegate Nathan Nota, as well as Delegate Stephen Arvizo and myself. We do have a New Mexico caucus work session that's going to be coming up on the 15th and the 16th of June. So if we're going to, and then we also have the Navajo Nation Economic Summit that's scheduled for June 20th, 21st, and 22nd at Twin Arrows Navajo Casino Resort. This information was sent out to the delegates, and I do have it in my calendar. So just heed those dates. In the event that the Law and Order Committee is not available on the 20th, June 20th, to have a special Law and Order Committee meeting in lieu of the June 19th meeting, we may be looking at alternative dates, but we'll be sharing that information. We'll put it on the next Law and Order Committee agenda so that we can decide as a committee. So with that, committee members, those are the announcements that I have at this time. And then again, as was stated by Lorraine, make sure that your July calendar is the 17th through the 21st is set aside for a summer session. And then right after summer session, new delegates, just an FYI, we're going to go full speed ahead with budget. So your July and pretty much your August will be gobbled up by budget sessions. So just keep that in mind as you start to prepare for your calendar for July, August, and also September. So with that, committee members, those are the announcements that I have at this time. If there are no other announcements, we can move for a motion to adjourn. I will need a motion and a second, committee members. How would you like to proceed?
I do have an announcement, an announcement.
Go ahead, the floor is yours.
We have started our Navajo Hopi Land Commission meetings, and they're the first Thursday and the third Thursday. The first one's gonna have a conflict with the June 1st, our leadership meeting. We do start early in the morning at 7 a.m. and I will be on the line for that. And then afterwards, I will be able to come back into the leadership meeting for that day. So I just want to make sure I bring that up. And I know Delegate Daniels also is a commissioner for the Navajo Hopi land. Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know that, Vice Chair. Are there any other announcements at this time? Okay, not hearing anything. Again, I am open for a motion and a second to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Vice Chair Sherilyn Yazzie to adjourn at 12:12. Can I get a second?
Delegate Nota,
Delegate Arvizo, motion second.
Delegate Stephen Arvizo does make the second. Again, this is a motion and a second to adjourn at 12:12 p.m. Committee members, we're going to go ahead and go straight to a vote for this. Sherelle, can you assist us with roll call vote, please?
Honorable Stephen Arvizo, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Stephen Arvizo votes green. Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Herman M. Daniels Jr. votes green. Honorable Nathan Nota, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Nota votes green. Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie, how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you, Honorable Sherilyn Yazzie votes green. Honorable Madam Chair Charleston, 4 in favor, 0 opposed. And Madam Chair Eugenia Charleston not voting, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that, Sherelle. So with that, we are hereby adjourned at 12:12 p.m. Committee members, again, if you're traveling out to Tempe today, I think all the delegates will be present during that time. Make sure that you, that you're safe on your traveling. And then we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock a.m. Thank you.